Hello, everybody. My name is Zerduku, and what the hell? What the hell? Okay, there we go. Hello, everybody. My name is Zerduku, and welcome back to Shoe on Head. Today, we're going to be doing the reaction for the War on Women, or whatever it's called. Somebody called Sweeney's something. I don't even know who the fuck she is. So, we'll just let Shu explain it to me, and I'll try to figure it out from here.
So, if you've been living under a rock, you probably haven't heard that Sydney Sweeney was in an American Eagle commercial.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color,
Neuron
personality,
activation.
and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has great genes.
She's pretty as
Get
hell.
it? Genes? Because she's attractive? And she is. I can see why men like her. She has a really cute face and a nice body. But personally, my favorite thing about Sydney Sweeney is that she's a Nazi. Did they mean to include a bunch of Nazi dog whistles in this? How the f did she agree to this? Actual Nazi ad. The only way Sydney Sweeney would be okay with doing an ad like this is if she was a Nazi.
Of course.
This is Nazi shit.
About the ad that is being racist.
So let me get this straight. This person called Sweeney something, whatever her fuck her name is, I can't frickin' pronounce it. Sorry, it's getting hot here. Requires, oh shit. Luckily I didn't spill a drink. You know what, guys? I'm gonna pause this video for a second. Just give me, I need air. I need conditioning. Then I'll talk later. There we go, that's better. So let me get this straight. There's this person named Sweeney, whatever the fuck her, how to pronounce her name. Although she is freaking attractive, and she's a celebrity who did a commercial for jeans, and basically every girl hates her for doing that, and saying it's Nazi propaganda. I disagree with that. It is not Nazi propaganda because they're just talking about pants. I guess if you look at it from a metaphor point of view, I guess you could say it's potential Nazi propaganda. But honestly, I feel like it was incidental, like it was accidental, like the creators didn't stop to think about what they were making, which is fine. And honestly, if you're gonna do a commercial for pants, saying that you have a good jeans for like, saying that you buy the best jeans from a store, then I don't see the Nazi ad too much. I mean, it's like one of those things when you look at movies and look at movies and metaphors for art and stuff. I feel like it's looking way too hard. You know, you're basically ripping your eyeballs and putting your freaking face to the freaking dang painting. I'm trying to see everything, but I really can't see anything. I am blind, retarded, and require my meds. Back to the video.
Some of you guys might be too young to remember, but back in the day when an ugly girl was jealous of a pretty girl, she would simply call her a whore.
I remember
But
those
that's
days.
a good thing now, so we have to call her racist.
Really?
I am going to be completely honest. I have no idea what movies Sydney Sweeney is in. All I know, she is a
Me
very
neither.
popular celebrity,
Sydney
and I always see
Sweeney,
discourse
okay.
on Twitter about her being mid.
Mid my ass. I mean, holy hell. Damn. She has a... What is she, like, double D? What the hell? Although, yeah, yeah, let's just, back to the video.
What is wrong with you people? Who is not mid nowadays? I saw Anne Hathaway get called mid
She looks familiar.
the other day. Anne Hathaway. If these women are mid, I'm like a sub-zero. I'm like a -2. I am like...
Okay, honestly, both Shu and Sweeney, whatever her fucker name is, are, well, they're like celebrities, so maybe I should make my own little female like bar exactly of where they fit. I would say that Sydney Sweeney does look a little more prettier than Shue, just a little bit, but not by much. Yeah, like for an example, I would say like, okay, let's say that the prettiest girl would be like a 10, and the ugliest would be like, some big fat ugly chick would be like a 1 or something. I would say that Shue is probably a solid 7, and Sweeney is like an 8 or a 9, to be honest. Either that or a 10, I don't know. I mean, I don't know anything enough about Sweeney to even really gauge exactly. Well, as being pretty, I would say yes, she would have to be an 8 just because of the way she looks. But I don't just judge just by looks alone. It's also personality, and if anything, I think Shue is a really nice person, and I know nothing about Sweeney at all, so I don't know, it's hard to gauge.
A horseshoe crab on the bottom of the ocean. Horseshoe crabs are pretty base, though. 445 million years, no evolution. That's me. Millions of years on YouTube.
You know, now that I think about it, there's a lot of creatures in the ocean that haven't evolved very much.
No evolution. Sydney Sweeney has like a fun, bubbly personality. She seems like she enjoys being feminine, and it seems like she doesn't hate men, which is a big plus. She really plays into the like.
Where are all those kind of women at? I mean, like, I really would like, you know, to see some women that are not only nice to men, but are also like, you know, like proud to be a woman, you know. And you don't see those kind of women anymore.
Like, I'm a hot blonde bombshell. I have big titties thing. Which, are we back to liking titties as a society?
Shue, I don't think we stopped liking titties. I don't even know where you're getting that nonsense from. Jesus H. Christ, that ass has to be fake.
Didn't Kim Kardashian deflate her ass recently?
Kardashian?
That's how I knew the ass fad was over.
Why are we bringing Star Trek
fall
into
of
this?
Kim Kardashian's ass and the rise of Sydney Sweeney. Besides, ass, titties, no, I don't objectify women. I respect women, okay? The only thing that matters to me is a woman's mind. And thighs. What is like the male body equivalent to this debate? Abs or arms? Personally, I love a good forearm. I love a good, nice, thick, manly wrist. And you know what looks great on a wrist? A watch. Which brings us to today's sponsor, Holtzker.
I don't know if Shue is being serious. I can't tell if she's being serious or... I don't know. You know, I don't think she's being serious because she was just, you know, building up for the ad, so I'm just gonna take it with a grain of salt.
Nice watch. I highly suggest checking out Holtzker. Big thank you to Holtzker for sponsoring this video. And now, let's get back to it.
I don't really like watches, to be honest.
My jeans are brown. Sounds like I shit my pants.
Although, to be fair, there are people who... There was brown jeans at one point, but people just said, you know, it looks like shit, so... You know, they got rid of them, they're stuck with, you know, blue jeans. But I don't like blue jeans. They're very uncomfortable to wear.
Woke outrage over Sydney Sweeney's ad has gone from, well, bad to worse.
Some people have taken issue with the phrase great genes being used over images of a blonde, blue-eyed woman.
They're looking way too hard.
Sydney Sweeney is a registered Republican. I think her ad is fantastic. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
TikTok
Donald
and Twitter
Trump
absolutely blew up with thousands and...
Well, holy crap. I got a bad feeling that, yeah, well, you know what? Let's not put that on YouTube.
Thousands of people calling this ad fascist propaganda. Yes, they literally took the jeans and jeans pun to be some kind of Nazi dog whistle because Sydney Sweeney is an attractive blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman, which apparently has been an extinct species for so...
I'm gonna say something, and it's pretty much gonna be the defeating argument for most of this video, since we're just talking about, you know, how people are being mean to Sweeney here. not only are they looking way too hard into the metaphors of a ad, which, by the way, I don't think you really should be looking for metaphors in an ad, because an ad is just for selling stuff, mostly garbage. And honestly, I hate ads to begin with, as you guys probably guessed. But also, I feel like the only reason why they're being mean to Sweeney is because she's an attractive woman, and women do not like being basically won over, basically getting overwhelmed or whatever the hell it's called. Basically, they don't like the idea of being out-prettied by another woman. They don't like that, so they try to tear them down. But here's the interesting about men, and I feel like women should take note. When a man outlooks another man, instead of them tearing each other down, what they do is says, you know what? Since you're the standard, I am going to push myself to make myself to look as good as possible, so I can either outdo you or make myself healthier so other women would like the way I look, which is something that women should take note. Women should, look at the so-called standards, which honestly the standards are not that high anymore, and actually try to make themselves look good.
So long an advertisement that when people saw this, they got scared and thought they saw the ghost of Hitler. Is Sydney Sweeney a Nazi? No. But do these people kind of have a point about this ad?
No.
Also no. They are unwell. But let's hear them out. Let's watch some of these TikToks. Let's listen to them. Listen to their points. We're not going to be mean.
But to be fair, honestly, I think all of us are unwell. There's too much of a loneliness epidemic going on, and I think there's also a mental illness epidemic going on too, to be honest.
Own the libs, okay? We are going to hear them out.
You guys are complaining about that Sydney Sweeney jeans ad, so I went and saw it.
That's Nazi propaganda.
Holy 2014 Tumblr. What the f***? Out here looking like she walked...
Yeah, I don't judge people by how that much about how they normally look when they record themselves, because look at me, I'm ugly too. But still, that... Man, she looked really weird.
Straight out of a Stone Toss comic, looking like you're going on the thumbnail of this video. Listen, if your bangs end in the middle of your forehead, you don't have to tell me your political opinions. I know them. I can...
Yeah, but that's like, reading the book, like, what was it? Reading the cover instead of reading the book? Yeah, reading a book before its cover, I think is the right saying, I think. I'm not positive because my brain just had a brain fart. You know what? Because of that, we're just gonna go back to the video.
Okay, sorry. I got it out of my system. Let's continue.
I will be the friend that's too woke because those Sydney Sweeney American Eagle ads are weird. Like, fascist weird. Like,
Hang on a second. Am I recording? Yes, I'm recording. I'm gonna go back a few seconds.
Sorry, I got it out of my system. Let's continue.
I will be the friend that's too woke because those Sydney Sweeney American Eagle ads are weird. Like, fascist weird. Like,
I have to say that to prove my point earlier about saying that women don't like being out pretty, this woman is fat as hell. Yeah, and instead of like trying to tear Sweeney down, stop chowing down on the donuts and start exercising and drinking vitamins and stuff, because that will make you look a little bit like Sweeney. You don't have to do the blonde thing, trust me. You don't. Eye color and hair color does not matter to a man, trust me.
Like, Nazi propaganda weird.
So this commercial was apparently a reference to an old Brooke Shields commercial from the 80s.
The secret of life lies hidden in the genetic code. Genes are fundamental in determining the characteristics of an individual and passing on these characteristics to succeeding generations. This may result in the origin of an entirely new species. Which brings us to Calvin's and the survival of the fittest.
Calvin Klein jeans.
Oh my god, she turns into a swastika. She was like 14 in that ad, by the way.
Oh,
really
that's
creepy.
what it was. Yeah, I got the feeling that she was actually younger than she looked. And, you know, it's kind of weird because she looked like a full-grown woman. Like, how would you know that's not a teenager? That's just weird. You know, people do age differently. Holy crap.
So at least Sydney Sweeney is of legal age. 14 is actually pretty old for Brooke Shields if you know her history and her lore. If anything, that is the most f***ed up thing about this Sydney Sweeney ad, referencing an old ad of a child star who was abused by Hollywood.
Not the first. Many young actors and actresses were abused by Hollywood, so not the first, and therefore not surprising.
But yeah, it was a callback to an old commercial, and Sydney Sweeney is the current day hot celebrity, so they chose to do it with her. They unfortunately failed to consider the fact that in current year, white people are not allowed to say that they have good genes, because that is Nazi propaganda.
Really? I don't know exactly how the whole white people works in terms of genetics, but not all white people are Germans. Matter of fact, white people were Americans, so to suggest... Yeah, and there's even blonde, blue-eyed Americans. That makes no fucking sense of how that's propaganda to me at all. It literally makes no sense.
A blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman is talking about her good genes. Like, that is Nazi propaganda.
If it is Nazi propaganda, then what the fuck were Nazis thinking? Because, honestly, to tell you the truth, it makes no sense at all, because even Americans have blonde, blue-eyed women and men. I don't know we're on activation. Good lord. This Sweeney girl is hot. Like, damn.
You don't get to drop lines about inherited traits, blue eyes, and great genes while zooming in on somebody that could have walked straight off of a Nazi propaganda poster.
A white, blonde, blue-eyed, Hitler's wet dream talking about how much she loves her genetics. It's not just giving eugenics, it's giving male fantasy.
Okay, that girl with the glasses, I don't understand what her fucking problem is. She's almost as gorgeous as Sweeney, almost. If anything, she's practically almost as gorgeous as Shue. God damn, I can't fucking speak.
Like how eugenics and being attractive to men are like equally terrible things to these people.
Sydney Sweeney's jeans ad is giving ethnic state propaganda. It is giving dystopian. It is giving 1940s Germany.
Why do they all speak the same? Why do they all do the same shit? They all...
Oh my god. To answer your question there, Shue, I hate to say this, I really do, but I'm getting the feeling that there's a large majority of women that are just retarded. They're running on low brain cell power, and they just start acting like PCs. It's pretty terrible.
We'll say the same. It's giving. It's giving.
Put a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, fair-skinned woman in an ad and say,
"What the hell? Who in their right mind would do that to their microphone?"
Hey, she has good genes. I don't know if I can say this, but it's literally giving Nazi propaganda.
It's giving. Also, the flesh-colored microphone? Why? It's giving okay?
Yeah.
It's giving
It literally looks like you're holding a dildo. It's fucking disgusting. Like, I know I got a terrible microphone, I got a shitty microphone, but mine's black, and it doesn't have anything on it. I mean, look, this is what my microphone looks like. I'm gonna put that down. But yeah, it looks nothing like that. That's just gross.
It's giving
I can't believe I actually have to explain this, but there is a reason that they picked a girl named Sydney Sweeney for this ad, and it's not just her blonde hair and her blue eyes. Sydney Sweeney is laying with her German Shepherd dog in this shoe. Her name is Sydney Sweeney, so her initials are S.
I literally got distracted on how beautiful Sydney Sweeney was, and not even listening to this dumb bitch that I have no idea what the hell she even said. And she's talking. The only thing I heard was something about her German Shepherd. And yet again, I just feel like they're looking way too hard.
They intentionally included her German Shepherd
ad,
dog
no
in
less.
the photo shoot.
Oh my.
You know, it would be one thing if it was in a movie, but in an ad, yeah, you're not going to put metaphors in an ad. An ad is either run as a bad joke because, or it's a, or it's just, you know, plain, you know, here's this item and this is how much it's going to cost, and that's about it.
God. Take your meds. Meds. Her name is Sydney Sweeney.
Well, at least she's talking to them and not to me. That's just dumb of me. Sorry, guys. I couldn't help it.
Initials are SS, like the Nazis. The dog is a German Shepherd. German, like the Nazis. Are they putting crack in birth control nowadays? What is going on? She is a hot woman. She is a hot woman because of the way she looks. She looks the way she looks because of genetics. She has great genes. That is how a normal person sees it. She's blonde.
Yeah, like, I get what she's trying to say. Like, just because if you just look good, you're not, and you don't say I'm superior to other people. I just, you know, got good genes. I don't. But however, when a woman looks good or a man looks good, I don't think it's necessarily genes per se. I think it's more of like they work hard to maintain their figure, because if you hear about what actors have to do to maintain their muscle figure, you start to realize that it has very little to do with genes. It's to do with how much you work your body. And yes, I am the worst person to talk about this because I am freaking fat. I eat nothing but freaking chicken. I don't eat healthy. I don't drink healthy. Hell, I drink a lot of soda. I shouldn't be drinking that much soda. I should be drinking, you know, vitamins and stuff, and I should be drinking a lot of water, which I hate the taste of water, so I don't drink water. So I'm probably unattractive and very ugly looking, plus I'm autistic, so that also makes me unattractive. But honestly, even though when I look at, say, like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Lou Ferrigno or whatever, I'm just like, you know, if I really wasn't such a wuss and, you know, was into like doing exercise and stuff, I could have I could have those figures if I really pushed myself to the limits to do it. But the thing is, I'm a wimp, and I really feel like it's not really worth it for me. And if you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Lou Ferrigno wants to go out and want to continue maintaining their figure and exercise, then good for them. At least they're setting a good example. But when women see women that are harder than them, they have a crash out. They basically, you know, start their minds just break because they're too fucking lazy, and their only reaction is to. Well, the thing is, yes, I'm lazy and a whoosh, but I don't crash out. I'm just like, yeah, okay, well, good for them. I'm just gonna be, you know, me, and that's it. I feel like that's a lesson in life. Just accept the way you are, or you do something about it instead of bitching and moaning to other people. Because bitching and moaning to other people, no one's gonna give a shit, and people are just gonna hate you for it. So, stop, basically.
London has blue eyes and her initials are SS, and she has a German Shepherd. Is how a schizophrenic, politically brain-rotted person sees it.
Hi, thanks for calling American Intel. This is Jess. How can I help today?
Hi, I am a marketing student and was wondering if I could speak to someone who could maybe give me some insight as to what estimated return on investment there has to be willing to use white supremacy and eugenics as your marketing campaign?
I would be fine if she was asking why there should be a Nazi thing on an ad, because I can understand that. But she's talking about white supremacy, you know. Well, here's a little history lesson there, you motherfucking dumb bitch. White supremacy is what built this fucking country, you dumb bitch. Slap to the fucking face.
On a marketing campaign?
Harassing some poor worker, doesn't even fucking speak English, has all to do with the commercial. These people are sick.
Yes, I recently saw American Eagle's eugenics marketing campaign.
Who the fuck she's even talking to? That's my question.
White blonde girl and talked about how good her genes were in a time.
And if it's a person that can't even speak English, I doubt it's like anybody who works for American, you know, like commercial ads. I think it would be understandable for where. You know what? My brain is broken because this bitch is so fucking retarded and so cruel just to ask some random person who's working on some sort of job we don't even know the dumbest woke question ever that, you know, I just don't fucking care anymore.
Where racism is rampant in the U.S.
I see. Thank you for taking time to share your feedback.
Why are you bothering this random-ass Filipino woman with your West Wing-ass TED Talk? Nobody gives a
Okay, so there's no way to, as a student, I can't...
I think what she's trying to do is trying to make a point here, but I feel like her point is invalid.
Learn about when eugenics makes sense in marketing. No one on the marketing team can talk to me about that.
I miss like 50 years ago when these people would just be serial killers instead of...
I do disagree with that, but you know what? Let's just take it as a joke.
Doing whatever the fuck this is. She's even got other celebrities seething.
Genes are passed down from parents to
What
offspring,
the
often
hell?
determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color.
Is she acting?
My genes are blue.
Haha, she did a dumb redneck voice, get it? Because all white people are dumb inbred hicks. Good one, Doja. Hey, by the way, why are you pandering to the same exact people who got your ass canceled for wearing a Sam Hyde shirt once? They all think you're racist too, girl,
Emotional
but
damage.
nice try. Hope they see this.
Doja Cat is making fun of Sydney Sweeney's ad only because she realized after all those years of her kissing up to white supremacists, they're never going to accept her because she's a half-black woman. Wearing this...
Whoa, is she really a half-black woman? Huh. Well, here's a newsflash to black women all around. Not all men like white women. Some white women like black women. So nothing you say what you're saying right here is valid. So shut the fuck up, you dumb bitch.
Sam Hyde shirt, you dating all these white supremacists. So make fun of the ad all you want, but we'll never forget you rolling around in those chat rooms showing white supremacists your feet so they could make fun of your black ass.
Oh, they did see it, and they still hate you.
Weird adverts aside about how the best genes are characterized in a conventionally attractive white, blonde, blue-eyed woman. Not true. I mean, look at me. Within 5 years, or as soon as she shows any sign of aging, that's it. The moment she becomes visibly over 25.
Enjoy the ride now, babe.
Well, that is the curse of everybody who is a model or a celebrity is age. And I feel like that's a curse for everybody, so it's only invalid just because of, like, it's like objecting to relevance. It's just not relevant.
Before you get too old and ugly and hit the wall. But wokely. This is just something I've noticed in the decade of criticizing feminism on the internet. Male feminists are the most misogynistic, sexist freaks ever when they finally have an acceptable, approved target to go after. God forbid you are a woman with the incorrect opinion, because hell hath no fury like a male feminist replying to you.
A strawberry blonde, blue-eyed woman marketing having great genes. This is just a whole fucking eugenics campaign, and I, for one, would like to throw myself off a balcony.
Do it.
Whatever, dude.
Do a backflip, live stream it. Also, these people just straight up don't know what the eugenics movement is. Talking about genetics is not eugenics. Sydney Sweeney did not say she had the best genes or superior genes or that other people had bad, inferior genes.
Yeah, that would be Nazi propaganda if Sweeney was saying that she had superior genes. But no, she said she had great genes. And even if she did, it wouldn't really... it wouldn't really register with me as Nazi propaganda because it's an ad.
Someone even made it like a fake ad, like, Beyonce has better genes, and it's like... Why'd you pick the picture where she has like a blonde wig on?
This campaign is poking at women's greatest and most tender insecurity under the patriarchy, which is desirability and the beauty standard. It affects not...
This is what I was trying to say before about, you know, like women feeling insecure by other women. And I was just saying, you know, that women should take notes from how men deal with insecurity, and that is to, like, not bitch and complain about it, but actually try to, you know, meet the standards. But, you know what, I'm just gonna listen to her, because I remember her saying... I've watched this video before, but I think I remember her saying other stuff.
Not only non-white women, even though this is clearly white supremacist, Aryan race propaganda, but it also adversely affects the majority of white women who do not naturally have blonde hair and blue eyes. Because yes, even the women who can achieve this look have to do it through artificial means in one way or another. The vast majority of white women are not naturally blonde.
Yeah, but women would try to mimic that through artificial means, for one. And for two, for men's standards, we don't give a rat's ass if you're black or white or from another country, as long as you maintain the hourglass figure and has somewhat long hair. Doesn't have to be completely long, and you don't necessarily need to have big titties neither. You can be somewhat flat-chested and attract some men. Although, yes, some men prefer, you know, more better some large titties. But honestly, I feel like you don't necessarily need to have large titties through artificial means. I feel like that's a medical thing. I think that might have to do something with drinking milk or having a little bit of fat on your chest or something. I don't know how that really works, honestly. But I don't know. I feel like the standards for women is achievable through, you know, like being healthy.
And of course, lots of white women are also insecure about having brown eyes. So that's a whole generation of young...
I know that's something you can't change unless it's artificial, but is that really a thing? I have a hard time believing that, because men don't give a damn about color. Like, they don't care about your skin color or eye color or even hair color. It's mostly just the hourglass concept, mostly. Because that's what attracts most men, and having a clean face that doesn't have any facial hair, like any kind of facial or arm hair or leg hair, that turns a lot of men off, because that looks like a transvestite.
Young white women who are being further propagandized to purchase blonde hair dye and contacts for the rest of all time.
Okay, what? Are attractive women just not allowed to model anymore because, like, God forbid it makes some other women insecure? And as someone with brown eyes, I've never once felt insecure about having brown eyes. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna get into hyperborea.
That proves exactly what I was saying before.
But I've seen myself photoshopped with blue eyes.
Oh my god! Oh, hell no! I I'm not sure if it's because of the Photoshop, but this looks uncanny. It's like Uncanny Valley.
Horrifying. So we've gone from Nazi propaganda to genocide to racism to now poor little girls are gonna feel insecure because they don't have blue eyes like Sydney Sweeney.
Another thing about the Sydney Sweeney beauty standard that is very important to note
How come she doesn't look like she has blue eyes in that picture?
is that big boobs are a hallmark of what conservative men are attracted to. At the end of the early 2000s and through the 2010s, we were becoming a more progressive society,
about?
and so we also naturally progressed to be
You know,
more
I've lost, like, understanding of what this bitch is talking about because I have no idea what she's talking about.
more ass-centric society.
In the 2000s, we were becoming more progressive, so we started objectifying women's butts. What? The communist utopia will be ass-centric, apparently. I didn't know the ass first thing was political. How does she know conservatives are all boob men? Conservatives in the audience, are you a boobs or butt guy? What political affiliation are the feet men? Libertarians. Listen, they can try to disguise it with their little intersectionality buzzwords all they want, but at the end of the day, women just want a socially acceptable reason to hate other women. That's it.
Good genes passed on to offspring? That
What
American
the
Eagle ad
hell?
with Sydney Sweeney is literally overt eugenics. I know you don't want to hear this, but if you want to talk about how that ad is promoting eugenics, which it absolutely is, we also have to talk about how choosing not to wear a mask when you can during an ongoing pandemic, because you're okay with a certain subset of people, primarily disabled people of color, dying for your own comfort, is also eugenics.
I don't know what the hell I just watched.
1 second.
Okay.
2025. We are talking about wearing masks for COVID in 2025. I like how she's woke scolding.
Well, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was wearing a mask, not because I had COVID, but because I had a really nasty cold and I didn't want to get other people sick, so it's understandable. Plus, another thing that should be noted about COVID, and I feel like COVID should have taught us, is that we really should be going outside very much, because even though COVID wasn't necessarily all that powerful of a disease, even though it did kill a lot of people, the fact is, in terms of diseases, it could have been a lot worse. Like, for example, we could have had a disease that's similar to E. coli, where it started affecting our water supply, or getting into our drink or food supply, because that would definitely kill a ton of people, especially if it's a disease that's completely new. But whether we like it or not, diseases is a life form that evolves and changes. So the fact is, sometime in the future, a new disease will pop up out of nowhere, and it will happen the most unexpected way. That's why I think being inside by yourself is important. So if someone does get sick with a deadly disease, it can be easily contained. And honestly, this is why we have the internet. But people don't use it, and they're going to start ghosting people because they miss being outdoors because of COVID. So it's like we got the wrong lesson and the wrong message because we're too fucking retarded to understand things. So I'm actually kind of a little bit on that weird woman side to a certain extent, in terms of, like, it may be a good idea to keep masks with us. Hell, I keep masks with me just in case if I do catch something that's really nasty, you know? But regardless.
The other woke scolds for not woke scolding about her particular pet issue. COVID broke the brains of so many of these people, man. It's because it's when the world was just a giant, safe HR longhouse where it was socially acceptable for them to be moral busybodies and never leave their home. It was like the closest to their lib shit utopia that we have ever gotten, and they miss it.
I remember growing up in a predominantly white community, wishing myself out of this body, out of this culture, take my name, if it meant that I could wake up blonde-haired and blue-eyed, never having to explain who I am or worry about being accepted. That is why this American Eagle ad with Sydney Sweeney is especially off-putting.
Whoa, let's back this up. Let's back this up a little bit here. First of all, there, lady, you may not look as beautiful as Sweeney, but you're pretty darn close. You don't need to be white. You don't need to be blonde. I mean, I just feel like, yeah, this lady is retarded, and I feel like her personality is the thing that probably turns off most men, because looks is easy, but when it comes to men, you may think that men can be physically attractive, which is only 50% true. There is the concept of, like, men can be physically attracted, but also at the moment when the man senses a very toxic personality from the woman in question, that's the thing that turns off men, and they're like, yeah, I think I'm going to play the smart card here and break up with this person because this person is dangerous and will come after me with a kitchen knife. And this is one of those women right here. This is the kind of woman who will come after you with a kitchen knife, like Dead by Daylight style.
Out of this body, out of this culture, take my name. If it meant that I could wake up blonde-haired and blue-eyed, never having to explain who I am or worry about being accepted. That is why this American Eagle ad with Sydney Sweeney is especially off-putting.
Listen, I'm sorry that happened to you, but we live in a predominantly white country. If you go to another country, there will be a different beauty standard. If you go to the country of your aunt...
You know, the thing is about American beauty standard, what that woman does not understand is that it's very diverse. It's not, not just white women. It's not just black women. It's not just Japanese women. It's all women all the way around. It's just that men do have... There's certain men that do have preferences, but finding the right man and the right woman nowadays is nearly impossible because of... Not just because of the standards, but there's also a lot of, like, toxic feelings between the two sides. Like, there's a lot of, like... I feel like most of the toxic stuff is coming from the women's side, but there's also a little bit on the men's side where men hate women, and because that we have this men versus women gender garbage, it makes it harder for men and women to get along, and this has been going on for centuries, I think. But there's certain things that were added to the battle between men and women. The biggest thing that was added, and it's causing a lot of problems, is the acceptance of gays and lesbians and bis. Basically, the LGBT community has made it a lot worse because it has made less options for the straights, and as a result, it's making it harder for straight people to find actual magnetic love. Another thing that is stopping it, and this has also been going on for kind of a long time, is some of the age gaps. Like, there's some men who like younger women because they look healthier, and it's the same with women. Sometimes women will see younger men and like younger men because they look healthier, and sometimes younger men like older women because of, well, they just look better. It's a little different for men, but usually for women, it's usually when they see an older man, they think that person is gonna be able to take care of them a lot easier. It's a thing. My point is that the concept of people liking younger generations is seen as bad or pedophilic, and as a result, it makes it harder. There's a lot of things like that where, because of the way society is, it's a big culture issue, and it's making it hard for people to find significant others, is what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is it's so hard for us to find significant others because there's so many, like, negative things that are working against us. And we also have the internet, where dating apps are forcing us to spend millions of dollars to talk to an AI girlfriend that we think is a real person, but in real life it's just a robot that we're talking to. Or, worst case scenario, we're talking to some person who's faking the fact that he's a guy from some other country. who's being paid by a supermodel to date, say dating things, but in reality it's some dude across, in like India, for an example. So it doesn't work very well. It's one of those things that is working against us, and eventually at some point men realize that the numbers are not worth fighting against, so at some point we just quit. And well, I want to kind of that tirade talking about the men loneliness epidemic versus this. I apologize.
Ancestors, there will be a different beauty standard and maybe it will look more like you. But again, she didn't say her genes were better or the best, and it's not like all the hot popular celebrities look like Sydney Sweeney. Look at Ana de Armas, look at Zendaya. They don't look anything like Sydney Sweeney, and they are known as very beautiful. There will be a different beauty standard and maybe it will look more like you. But again, she didn't say her genes were better or the best, and it's not like all the hot popular celebrities look like Sydney Sweeney. Look at Ana de Armas, look at Zendaya.
Is that a black woman? Point made.
They don't look anything like Sydney Sweeney, and they are known as very beautiful around Hollywood. This is why corporations in the media think in order to pander to the female gaze, everything has to be like average and frumpy and ugly, because women can't stop fucking projecting their insecurities. Not every character in a movie or a video game has to look like you. Not everyone in an ad has to look like you. Hell, the only time I see people who look like me is when I turn on the live-action Grinch movie. You notice men never say this shit, by the way? They usually go like, wow, that man is strong. I don't look like that. I'm gonna go to the gym. And women are like, wow, that woman is thin. I don't look like that. I'm gonna go complain.
What makes Sydney Sweeney's genes better? Like, why did you get that joke? All us woke people are saying is that it's just a little bit weird to directly reference European genes as better.
Again, she never said that her genes were better. You are making shit up.
Now, when you think of the all-American
what
girl,
the hell?
The
what
standard
the fuck?
of, like, American beauty, you probably think blonde hair, blue eyes, white girl, right?
I never thought in my entire life that I'd see women with giant-ass fucking lips. What the fuck is this? What the hell? It's one of those things that actually tear down my whole concept that you can actually make yourself look healthier by exercising. But there's no amount of exercise that can help you with this lip problem. You have giant-ass fucking lips that looks like freaking giant seashells. 2 giant seashells put together on a face. Yeah, this is weird. I feel sorry for this person.
You're not supposed to think that way.
You're not supposed to think that way, guys. That's double plus ungood.
That's ingrained in you because of.
But don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I feel sorry for you, so I'm gonna be like you. No, I just pity her, and that's it.
Negative things that have been pushed on you by society.
When you think about the all-American woman, you should be thinking about an obese, transgender, disabled woman or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing that women want to see in themselves, because that's what they think is the minority. I hate to tell you guys, tell you something, but autism and being fat is not really the minority. At least not that much. I mean, like, I would say that only makes up for maybe 39% of the population is being autistic and being, fat at the same time. Yeah, that doesn't make up the whole. The majority of people in the world is, usually either thin or look, not muscular, but usually just thin. Because people are told from their doctors constantly that obesity is a health issue. And I get told that all the time, especially how fat I am.
What would be an acceptable vision of the American woman for this person? It's insane she's saying that we think Sydney Sweeney is hot because of negative things that have been pushed on us by society. No, bitch, we have eyes. And just because she is attractive does not mean you are also not attractive. Look at your full lips. That is a standard of beauty I'll never live up to. That's okay, because I have other things that are beautiful.
Now that I think about it, there's some men that might be into giant lips, so I think Shue has a point. But I'm not into it. It just looks weird to me. She doesn't even look freaking human. It's
beautiful
weird.
And unique about me, just like you have other things that are beautiful and unique about you, regardless if Sydney Sweeney is held up as the American beauty standard. These are lessons your mother should have taught you, not a YouTuber. Sydney Sweeney's ad shows a cultural shift towards whiteness. Advertisements are always mirrors of society, and sometimes what they reflect is ugly and startling. Boo! A white woman. Oh, the fucking author is white. I hate these people, man. Shut up. Shut up. It's one thing when it's like a non-white person talking about how white people suck. It's like, okay, you're just racist. But when it's a white person talking about white people suck, you need to be ground up into a pulp and fed to livestock. You would honestly be more useful that way. Ads are always mirrors of society. And sometimes what they reflect is ugly and startling. Popular American culture is, indisputably, becoming more puritanical and more conservative. Puritanical? The focus of the ad was her tits and ass! This is not at all a conservative, puritanical ad. Have you seen what the puritanical right thinks of Sydney Sweeney? They think she's a okay? They think she's a The backlash has been...
Yeah, but didn't you say earlier in the video their Shue that being a hoe was a good thing? I don't know. I feel like this is the one time where Shue really messes up her whole concept of what she's talking about. But you know, at the same time though, I do understand her issue of like how women are acting around other women, and it's disgustingly it's not disgusting. It's just fucking annoying. Like, all I can say to women is grow the fuck up.
Swift and fierce, and some of it, at least if you ask me, is fair. The internet has been quick to condemn the advertisement as non-inclusive at best. Non-inclusive? Why the f does everything have to be inclusive? It's a commercial with one fucking person in it. Sweeney exudes a source of vintage sexiness that caters to the male gaze. She embodies the near mythological girl next door beautiful but low maintenance sexy
And listen, beauty is not only a form of art, it is something that should be accepted because beauty equals healthy. Do you guys get that, you fucking retards?
Femininity that dominated the media in the 1990s and early 2000s. Oh wow, that sounds great. You're telling me that's fascism? Waiter, more fascism please. What the f? It's just so funny, like, the left is currently losing their mind about how, like, they need to get young men to vote for Democrats again, and here they are, like, blondes with big is are fascism. Listen, the alt-right pipeline does not start with the American Eagle ad. It starts with you. What are you doing? This is not at all a conservative far-right ad. It's just a normal ad that would have ran like 15 years ago. But I guess that's what being far-right is nowadays. Being normal from 15 years ago. I love this random part of the article though. Young women are being radicalized through so-called clean skincare and healthy eating. So fascism is...
Did you literally just say that it's wrong to be healthy? I'm gonna fucking... The human race is gonna be extinct, ladies and gentlemen.
Hot people eating healthy and having clean skin. Goebbels himself could not make better propaganda. Literally, as I am editing this video, the New York Times comes out with his opinion piece, Why the Right is Obsessed with Thinness. I would really, really appreciate if people stopped equating health and beauty to fascism, because if health and beauty are fascism, what is unhealthiness and ugliness? Unfortunately, a big part of socially progressive ideology is dismantling hierarchies and norms and challenging what society sees as conventional, traditional, and beautiful. A really good example of this was those statues that were put up like all over different cities of like a frumpy woman in leggings. And the artist says like the purpose of these was to like challenge conventional beauty standards. And it's like, imagine looking like one of these women and then hearing like, oh yeah, this was put up to challenge beauty. Like, what do you mean by that? Remember the whole body positivity movement like 10 years ago? Remember like all the fat influencers? Remember when every single ad was like this ad, for example? Calvin Klein's latest underwear campaign is breaking big boundaries. Big boundaries? Whoa, 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 whoa. What do you mean by that? While fashion is starting to seriously consider creating more inclusive environment for consumers, there is still a huge mountain to climb before it is truly considered diverse. Huge mountain? No, that's just mean. And that's why Calvin Klein, probably the most famous name associated with underwear, just launched a groundbreaking campaign. Groundbreaking? Oh, come on now. The campaign is all about feeling free to express yourself, being uninhibited, and being provocative by challenging the norms we see on a regular basis. See? Challenging norms. It's all about challenging norms. This reminds me of that protein world controversy from 2015. Old heads will remember. I wrote an article about it for the Libertarian Republic. Wow, that was a long time ago. But anyway, a billboard with this ad for a protein powder supplement was put up and people lost their fucking minds. They vandalized it, they threatened to get a bunch of the employees fired, they threatened to go where the company was located with hammers, all because they committed the great crime of body shaming by daring to have a thin, attractive woman on their ad. This ad made other companies come out with their own like little virtue signaling things like passive aggressive, like everybody is ready. Like every fashion magazine, every beauty magazine was pumping this out the time, just fat, 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 fat. The rise of like Tess Holiday and the hashtag F your beauty standards. Oh my god. You could not escape this. Also suspiciously, body positivity only seemed to mean obese women. But yes, everywhere you looked, it was like fat, 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 and everyone was like, yes, queen! Well, now we live in Ozempic world, and the fat acceptance movement seems to have died. Like many of the fat
Of course it would die, because being fat... Listen, I know I'm not the right person to say this, because I'm fat and ugly autistic myself, but it's not healthy. Because of the way that I decided to live, I realized that I have a very short lifespan. And if you just stick to being fat and obese, well, guess what? You're going to have a very short lifespan, and you're going to die at a very young age. Matter of fact, I'm pretty darn sure you might die in your, young 40s. Well, in your 40s, or probably, you won't even make it to your 50s, because being obese probably means you're probably going to get hit with something like, what was it called, where you have too much sugar in your body, or whatever it is called, diabetes. Yeah, once you get hit with diabetes, your diabetes is going to slowly kill you, and it'll eventually make you have a heart attack. And matter of fact, the fatter you are, the more likely you are going to have a heart attack and have some blood issues. It's almost a guaranteed death sentence that you're going to die somewhere around between the age of 40 and 50 years old. Matter of fact, even Gabriel Iglesias, my favorite, one of my favorite comedians, kept talking about how he had to be very careful of what he ate, because he's getting up in the years where he could easily have a heart attack. And, that unless you're okay with those consequences, you need to, pay attention to your health with that. And I may not be okay with the consequences of having a heart attack and stuff. I just kind of see it as something that's just inevitable with me, because I don't just have, an eating problem. It's more of a taste sensory issue with autism, and just, my autism is what makes me fat, unfortunately, because I don't like eating new things, and I don't like eating healthy things, because the taste sensory thing literally makes me gag. So if I try to eat something healthy, I literally start gagging, and it starts, becoming a waste. Like, one time I even tried to eat an apple once, and I ended up vomiting it up, so it ended up being a waste. So, yeah, I can't... That's why I'm pretty darn sure I'm not going to live very long, because I'm kind of, in the situation where I'm pretty darn sure that eventually when I do get diabetes, I'll probably just die off. And I'm pretty darn sure a lot of women who think that being fat is okay, they're going to wind up dying too from a heart attack. And I don't know how many of them are okay with it, but that's what's going to happen to you guys. I'm sorry, plain and simple.
influencers, unfortunately. And these same types of people are like crashing out about the Sydney Sweeney ad because they really do feel like all the work they have done to like socially engineer people's behavior and preferences has been just like destroyed overnight. Who would win? Decades of propaganda? One big booby girl.
You know, if you said, like, who would win, the new fat generation or the older, like, generation, like, back in the 50s and 80s where being healthy was, you know, standards, yeah, I hate to tell you, but the older generation is going to win. But against her, I don't think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think it was Sweeney was trying to like push like an advertisement for like being healthy. She would totally beat that like easy, no big deal. Because honestly, I think that a lot of supermodels like her and actors work really, really hard to maintain their figure. And yeah, they're the winners at that. They're the ones who are going to live at least all the way up until their hundreds. Matter of fact, I think even Lou Ferrigno might still be around because he exercises a lot. He drinks a lot of water and he keeps, you know, exercising. It's people like them that are gonna live to be like anywhere between 100 to 200 years old because not because of medications, because of how hard they work to maintain their figures. Exercise is the thing that makes you live the longest. And like I said 100 times before in this video, I am the worst person to be saying that message, so therefore I'm probably going to get ignored for it.
I wrote in the old article, I can't say I'm too surprised at the backlash towards this model's body. We are living in a world where instead of striving to better ourselves and live a healthy lifestyle, praising obesity and unattractiveness is becoming the norm. Well, ShoeOnHead from 10 years ago, you will be happy to hear that it seems like it's no longer the norm. Because apparently not just American Eagle, but like Dunkin' Donuts and Arby's are using hot people in their ads again. Is the culture truly healing, or are we about to go into a deep financial recession?
I don't know what that means, dear Shu, and I don't know how to answer your question. But I will say that it's a step in the right direction, I would say.
Questions we should be asking. Angry Reddit freaks also doxed Sydney, looking through her voting records and found out she is a registered Republican. One of the most common things I saw about this were how, like, all the women getting mad about Sydney Sweeney were ugly, and I don't think that's true. There were some, like, pretty people in there. But it got onto this topic that I see all the time, and that is, why are liberal women so ugly? Leftists are ugly, conservatives are hot, which is not true, by the way. I was at January 6th, okay? But, for the most part, stereotypes exist for a reason, right? Conservatives are, well, conservative with the way that they present themselves. They tend to follow norms and beauty standards, which is why, for example, the media called Hassan a, quote, progressive in a MAGA body. And how so many women on dating apps nowadays are looking for a man who votes Democrat but looks like a Republican. Everyone is aware of the stereotypes. And with leftists, you know the stereotype, like the overweight, blue hair, nose ring. They're not all ugly, of course, but many purposely make themselves look ugly. Because being ugly is saying F you to the man. Marcel Duchamp's art piece, Fountain, which was...
You know, I can respect it to a certain extent, but it's also very unhealthy.
Literally just a urinal, was a F you to art institutions and classical ideas of beauty. Those f***ass ugly concrete block brutalist buildings are another example. Brutalism emerged after World War II as a post-war modernist style, in part created as a F you to the classical architecture celebrated by, drumroll, the Nazis. Now think of those concrete buildings and the urinal and apply it to broader society. Basically, the blue hair and nose ring is a F you to, well, Sydney Sweeney. Hitler existed, so now everything has to be fat and ugly. Sorry. I don't know why so many on the left want to give the concept of beauty and health to the right, but it is not a winning strategy. Listen, I just want everyone's basic needs met, alright? I don't want people going in debt if they get into a car accident, or be homeless, or get sent to foreign wars. I didn't sign up for this stupid shit. It is funny though how like every time Sydney Sweeney is on camera, there's like a right-wing article like, "Woke is dead." Wokeness is no match for Sydney Sweeney's undeniable beauty.
Damn!
Are Sydney Sweeney's breasts double D harbingers of the death of woke? Was that girl right about conservative?
Emotional damage.
Was being boob guys? She might have been right after all. Honestly, this doesn't really make sense because like, the left are the ones trying to normalize porn and like OnlyFans culture and stuff like that. If anything, there is too much boobs everywhere. We need to calm down a bit. But when it comes to Sydney's like classical bombshell beauty, like I kind of get where they're coming from. Sydney Sweeney is a hot white woman who does not mind catering to the male gaze after we had a decade of hearing about how the male gaze is bad and toxic. A decade of hearing about how white people are bad and toxic. A decade of ugly, angry, fat androgyny seeping its way into everything and anything. When people say Sydney Sweeney is anti-woke, I don't even think they mean politically. I think they just mean like Sydney Sweeney is like looking into a time portal back to 1992. A time when porn addiction wasn't such a big issue. Every woman didn't show her hole online for $5. Hookup apps didn't exist. It's like a bunch of millennials and zoomers are longing for a time they never experienced. But yes, this is a cultural shift, but not necessarily a conservative one. Just a return to like normalcy, a return to normal Americana consumerism. In 2065, conservatives are gonna be like posting people twerking like, return! These same TikTok freaks who are attacking Sydney Sweeney have been sounding the alarm about this cultural shift for some time now. And we see a bunch of celebrities embracing like looking normal and healthy again. Like Demi Lovato is a perfect example of this. She was an obese, short hair, walking stereotype, crying about a frozen yogurt place, daring to sell sugar-free frozen yogurt.
I walked in, was so triggered that I left without froyo.
To now being skinny and healthy and married, and even making a TikTok dancing happily in that same frozen yogurt place.
The singer returning to the scene of the...
See, this is what I mean. With some work, you can go from being fat to be skinny again. Enough said.
Crime Wednesday, poking fun at herself on her social.
That's part of the reason these people are freaking out and saying like fascist aesthetics, because they know the chokehold they have had on culture is losing its grip. Inshallah. Once Sam Smith goes back to being normal, that's when I know the culture is healing. Thankfully, American Eagle did not bend the knee and did not apologize to the horde. In fact, they doubled down. Sydney Sweeney has great genes, is and always was about the genes. Her genes, her story. Wait a minute. Her genes, her story. HH. Uh-oh. Now, I can sit here and say the obvious, like, these corporations just want to pander to you, they just want to sell you like, yeah, obviously. But have you considered, it's good when corporations pander to me, personally? I just realized so much of American political discourse is, like, around f***ing corporations and ads. The Gillette commercial, Bud Light, Protein World. There are so many examples, like, it's just crazy how so much of our politics revolves around consuming things. I will buy blue team product. I will buy red team product. Bleak. In conclusion, we are tired of ugly. There's hot people in ads again. The white woman is back, baby. Let's go. 500 trillion more to Israel. Nobody can afford a fucking house. World is run by pedophiles. But woke is dead, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah! So if you like this video, please subscribe and maybe donate to me on Patreon. Link.
Well, actually, that's the end of that video, technically. She's just talking about Patreon, which I don't really care much about. But I'm glad that things are shifting, but actually I am going to do 3 different shoe videos today, or at least try to. So let's see how it goes. I'm going to see you guys in the next one. So please like and subscribe, and this is Zerduku signing out.